If a team uses the transfer portal, does it actually hurt their regular recruiting? This is a good question because there's a lot of different thoughts around it. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Welcome to Clemson Football Live. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. I hope you subscribe. It's free, and it's an easy way to support the channel. I do appreciate it. Now, today is Monday, December the 18th. Early signing day starts in 2 days on Wednesday, the 20th. With that said, we call it early signing day. It's now like normal signing day. Used to, for years, it was February. You would sit and wait, anxiously await to see who would sign in February, but now it is in December. And so it's just part of the new college football landscape, and it really has been that way for almost 10 years, I would say. It's really ramped up over the past probably 5 to 7, but that raises the question with everything that's going on, especially over the past few seasons, seeing the transfer portal explode since 2020, and we have players playing for one school. Take JT Daniels, for instance, former highly recruited quarterback coming out of high school. He played for Southern Cal. He played for Georgia. He played for West Virginia, and he played for Rice. So he played for 4 universities because of the transfer portal. And it is a topic that brings a lot of dissension. If you want to really tick off someone, start talking about the transfer portal in any way, because you never know how people are going to react. Just go look at my comment boards. Look at other comment boards. Go to Clemson forums, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, before I show you, I'm going to show you last year's transfer portal, the teams who use the transfer portal versus their recruiting rankings for right now. Okay, so in a few days, a lot of these guys are going to sign. Now, we've already seen a massive decommitment from Georgia to Nebraska by Dylan Raiola. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Please forgive me. I mean, this is a guy that played all of his football, high school football, in Arizona. Then he moves to the metro Atlanta area, only about an hour from Athens, Georgia. He plays, I think he went to Buford High School, which is a historically great football team in the state of Georgia. Big time football. Everybody's like, he's a Georgia Bulldog. And today he says he's going to be a Nebraska Cornhusker. This is what we're up against in, recruiting. But I kind of got off subject there, but what I'm trying to say is this is just a crazy recruiting, because that's what a lot of us have been, I don't want to say led to believe, but it's kind of we don't say it out loud, but that's what we kind of have it in our head. So I'm going to share my screen for 24/7 Sports for the 2023 transfer rankings. Now, of course, Colorado's going to be at the top of this thing because they used it, and everybody talks about them. I'm not going to go into that right now. Please, hopefully nothing's playing over here. There's Josh Pate, because he's always on autoplay on 24/7 Sports, and some type of itch cream advertisement. So I just no, I've not been looking that up. Okay, but this is last year. It says last updated on 12/16, but this is actually for last year. This is for last year. You see Colorado at the top. All right. Now, notice LSU is at number 2 with 14 commitments. Where is LSU for this recruiting cycle in 2024? Well, I'm going to share this screen. They're number 12. Right now, they're number 12. This is a few days before National Signing Day. Anything can happen. We all know this, but just bear with me. They're number 12. Where's Clemson at? Clemson's number 15. All right. Number 12. So it really didn't hurt them. Okay. Let's go back to last year's transfer portal. We have Ole Miss at number 3. All right. We have Ole Miss at number 3. Where are they at right now? Well, it's not sharing for some reason. Let me go back to this. I'll just go ahead and tell you. You can go look it up. Ole Miss right now is at number 20. All right. But let's get into some bigger teams. All right. Some teams that really used the transfer portal last year versus their ranking. All right. Let's look at this team. And this is a team that for Clemson fans, it is, it might strike a chord with you. I can find this. I'm sorry for all the clicking noise, folks. I had this pulled up and then it totally whacked out on me. Okay, right there. Florida State's number 6. Florida State is number 6. They were number 6 in using the transfer portal this past season. You know, they got Keon Coleman, they got Jaheim Bell. I mean, they used it. What's that guy? The guy from Virginia, the cornerback. I can't remember. He was fantastic. He was fantastic. So you have 12 commitments there. How has it impacted their recruiting? Because if common thought that's going around on a lot of forums, and I know it's just forums, people are sharing their opinion, but a general idea, even in the Clemson community, and that's really why I'm doing this video, in the Clemson community, is that if you use that nasty old transfer portal, you use that dangerous transfer portal, where there's a bunch of bad stuff going on, Bobby Boucher, as Bobby Boucher's mom. I did that the other night. If you watch my video, you know what I'm referencing. You know, Bobby Boucher's mom hated football. Don't you play that fool's ball. The horns are going to hook and you're going to hurt yourself, Bobby Boucher. The fool's balls are the devil. Well, in Clemson, we have been pretty much told that we don't go using that transfer portal. That's the devil's work. But look at their recruiting, Florida State's recruiting this year. Number 4. I mean, they're way out recruiting us right now. I mean, where was Clemson at again? Number 15. Do we have talent on this? Yes, we have talent. I'm not knocking Sammy Brown. I'm not knocking Moore or Wesco. I'm not knocking them. It's number 15. Look at all those teams in front of us. Florida State, number 4. All right. Let's go to Auburn. Now, I know some people are going to take shots at Hugh Freeze and this, that, and the other. Hugh Freeze can coach football, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But Auburn was number 5. Was number 5 in using the transfer portal. He hadn't even coached his first game yet. All right. Let's go over here. Share this tab. Where are they at this year? Number 11. I know this is kind of exhausting, but I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to show you that the thought that using the transfer portal is going to hurt you in your regular recruiting is not valid. Let's pause there. For some of you who are watching this video and you are 9 minutes in, maybe you haven't heard my take on the transfer portal. I'm going to lay it out there for you. I know my regular viewers, they're going to hear this and they're going to be like, yes, I know. He says this all the time. And I should have did this at the beginning of the video. But this is a regular live stream. I'm just, off the cuff here. The transfer portal is great for supplementary recruiting. The transfer portal is great for supplementary recruiting. What does that mean? You've had your recruiting class, you did your due diligence, and let's just say you go to the transfer portal and you notice that someone and it's on this video for Josh Pate, Julian Fleming, one of the a former top wide receiver coming out of high school, got lost in that incredible Ohio State wide receiver room, which, by the way, anyone could get lost in that room. It's so good. And he had the transfer portal. And I've said, as a Clemson fan, I would love to have Julian Fleming. Is he 6'5"? And no, he is 6'2". And by the way, let me tell you this, for the prototypical wide receiver that's been great at Clemson, what, Mike Williams was 6'3", T. Higgins was 6'3". This is kind of shorter, but man, I'm totally losing. Justin Ross was 6'2", 6'3". I think Deion Kane was around 6'2". Bo Collins, I know he had a down year this year, but the past few years he's been a fighter. He's 6'3". Ngata was about 6'2", 6'3"-ish. If you go back to, I'm trying to think of that other guy. God, I'm losing. But tall wide receivers has worked for us. Martavis Bryant, going back a while back, he was 6'4". So Clemson's had some great tall wide receivers who could go up and get the football. So, but Julian Fleming, he's not just some massive dude, but the guy has height to him. We could go and use that chance of getting Julian Fleming to try to beef up our wide receiver room. But do we stop recruiting at the high school level? No. So let me make that more concealed, because I drew that out there. I chased a rabbit. I admit it. Here we go again. You have to recruit high school. That's how you build a team for the long run. You use the transfer portal for supplemental players. There's nothing wrong with that. And players, whether they're coming out of high school or whether they are coming out of the portal, is going to cost you money. So I know I don't like it either. But that's just where we're at now. I also don't like coaches being paid $10 million a year and taking away their incentive to actually work. So I don't like that either. I have nothing against people making as much money as they possibly can. I have a massive problem with taking away their incentive. We've seen it over and over in the pros. You see a lot of these players, they play through the rookie contract, they get $250 million thrown in their lap, and then they become useless. There's no incentive anymore. So let's go back to this 2023. 2023 transfer portal. There's Miami. Well, where is Miami in recruiting for the 2024 season right now? Where are they at? They're number 6. So it hasn't hurt them. It hasn't hurt them. All right. Let's go back to here. I'm looking for a few other teams just for you to see. Okay. Look at Oregon. They use the transfer portal. Where are they at in recruiting right now for high school recruiting? Number 8. Right? They're number 8. And if my memory serves me correct, Oklahoma, that's funny right there. Oklahoma was right in front of them, just like they are now. To show it to you, here's Oklahoma for using the transfer portal. They're number 8. Look where they're at. This is crazy for high school recruiting right now. Number 7. Okay, I could keep doing this, and I'm not going to do that to you. I have 37 people in here. I'm glad you're here. I hope you've subscribed. Drop your comments here. In here, and I always like to see your questions, even if you disagree with me. We don't have to agree. Now, I'm going to be when I get on here, I'm direct, I'm forward, I believe what I believe. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So I'm not going to be a wuss about it. I am going to be passionate, but we can be civil. You don't have to agree with me. But I just showed you the transfer rankings of last year. The teams that use the transfer portal who just played, these teams just played, and they are ahead of Clemson in recruiting right now. And take the University of Georgia, for instance. University of Georgia right now is ranked number 1 in recruiting. I don't know how it's all going to pan out after that quarterback dropped out. I still think they might be number 1 recruiting. They did that well, as Georgia always done. Georgia's always recruited well. They just decided to start using their talent to win championships over the past 3 or 4 years. But Georgia they've still went to the transfer portal over the past few weeks and picked up players. And you step back and you go, why would they do that if they have the number 1 recruiting class or the number 2 or number 3 recruiting class in college football? And I'm going to say it plainly for you. And I can't stand the Dogs. I'm not a Georgia fan. One of my friends at church, they go to every Georgia game in the world. I don't have a problem. I love them. They're friends of mine. And I have some good Georgia followers on here. But I'm not a Dogs fan, just like you're not a Tigers fan. Because winning means a lot to Georgia. Winning means a lot to Alabama. Winning means a lot to Ohio State. Oregon looked the best they've looked in years this year. They went to the transfer portal. Dan Lanning in his second season rated the sucker, and he recruited well. And I'm just going to say this. When you see teams like Alabama consistently stay in the top 5 in recruiting, and they even go to the transfer portal and use it for supplementary players, you just have to ask, well, if they're doing it, why don't we do it? And it's not going to, the answer of, well, that's not the Clemson way doesn't cut it with me. I'm sorry. We are past this. That's not the Clemson way. That has got old. I'm personally tired of hearing that. The Clemson way used to be you had to be a great person who could play great football, and then you would give coaches a chance among experienced coaches, and all of that fell apart over the past few years. And you say, Brian, why are you bringing this up? It's because there's still a lot of work to be done in Clemson. Don't just be thrilled that Matt Luke is on. I'm glad that Matt Luke is on staff, but there's still more coaching corrections that needs to be done, and it could be done now, but it's not going to be done now. We're going to have to wait for someone else to drop the ball, probably even literally, before that proper change is made. But I just want to show you the numbers for yourself so you can see that if a team uses the transfer portal, it is not going to hurt their regular recruiting. And Alabama and Georgia and Miami, and I know Miami, they're in a bad place, but recruiting-wise, they're fantastic. They got a whole other issue there. I don't want to be Miami. But when you look at teams like, and that was a bad example, you look at Oregon, you look at Bama, you look at Ohio State, they still use the transfer portal to bring in a player or two who makes sense. So I just want all of the Clemson fans out there, especially, to see this. I think that a lot of people here needs to see this, because there is this overall, and this is a closing thought of mine, there's this overall feeling in the Clemson community, and a lot of Clemson fans, they've bought it hook, line, and sinker, that if you use the portal, that all of a sudden Sammy Brown's not going to want to come play football at Clemson. Well, Georgia has a much better recruiting class than Clemson. I hate to say that. and they're still hitting the portal, and all those top guys, all of those top guys, even with the loss to the quarterback today, they still want to come play at Georgia. That is a bad excuse. It's not the truth. It's not reality. And us Clemson fans, I challenge you, whether you like or love or hate or whatever, the transfer portal. I just want you to at least see the truth. Now, if you don't like the portal, you don't like NIL, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not a fan of everything that's going on either. But on the topic of it hurts regular recruiting, I just proved to you that's a lie. So, folks, thank you so much for being here. I hope you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like it. Also, there's a join button below the video if you want to support on a monthly basis, even with Christmas and inflation and groceries going out the door. And I think since about, I don't know, late 2020 or about 2021, gas prices through the roof. Even with that, it is so cheap you could still support the channel if you wanted to. There's a join button below. You might not see it if you're on an Apple product. Thank you so much for being here. Y'all take care of yourself. And we're getting close to Christmas. National Recruiting Signing Day is in a few days. It's just a busy time, but it's always good to be a Tiger. As always, go Tigers.